Hiya, and welcome to our Meet the Winemaker conversation. Let's call it, let's call it that way. I'm here with Luca from Cantina Roccafiore in Umbria.
Hello.
If you remember, we had a very quick conversation, a very brief conversation a couple of weeks ago, where we introduced the Cantina, the winery. And today we're just gonna have a bit more of a chat with Luca, and the chat is gonna focus on Sangiovese. We all know Sangiovese. We all know Sangiovese as a Tuscan grape. There is not much around as a Sangiovese Umbrian grape. So Luca is gonna tell us the difference. He's gonna tell us why Sangiovese from Umbria is as good, or if not even better, than Sangiovese from Tuscany. And then we're gonna taste, at the end, we're gonna taste this one. Here it is. Luca Sangiovese. Before we go to the tasting, I'll pass to Luca, and we're just gonna have a nice conversation, chat between friends. Luca.
Ciao, Andrea. Hi.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me. So yes, you're right. Sangiovese is very popular in Tuscany. It's probably the most popular grape of this very important region. But what nobody knows is that Sangiovese is actually a very popular grape all over the country. All over Italy, you can find Sangiovese, especially in the central Italy. Especially, yes, of course, we know Tuscany, but you can find a lot of Sangiovese even in Umbria and Emilia-Romagna. The Sangiovese from Tuscany is very popular because there are a lot of classified Sangiovese wines like Montalcino or Chianti. And thanks to these appellations, we have the possibility to grow Sangiovese around the world. But probably the Sangiovese from the rest of Italy is a little bit underrated because people doesn't know the actually the potential of this amazing grape, or even in other appellation and in other region of Italy. So if we have to look into the geography of Sangiovese of Tuscany, we have probably three main wine countries: the Montalcino area, the Chianti Classico area, and the Nobile di Montepulciano area. And then, of course, you can find Sangiovese everywhere, even in Morellino, even in the coast. But what I want to say is that the Sangiovese from Tuscany is very, very different. If you compare talking about Montalcino, if you taste a Brunello from the north side of Montalcino, is very different compared to the Montalcino wines coming from the west side, where they are in touch with the sea. They are closer to the coast. So Sangiovese is something that is very versatile, and that's very flexible. It's very connected to the terroir. So if we consider the Umbria region, you have the same. It's almost the same. So you have the Sangiovese is everywhere in the region, from the north of Umbria to the south of Umbria. And even in our region, the Sangiovese is strictly connected to the specific area, to the terroir. So before discussing about the Sangiovese from Todi, that's the appellation of where Roccafiore is from. We have to say that there is a big paradox in our region, because Umbria is probably famous for the Sagrantino grape. That's one of the most important red grapes in Italy. It's famous for the tannicity because it's a very powerful wine. But actually only the 8% of the grapes coming from Umbria are Sagrantino. So it's a very small portion. But
sorry, Luca, there is only a small quantity because Sagrantino needs to come from a specific area.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
It's a DOCG, so it's a limited area, the limited geographic area of the Montefalco appellation. It's a very small, tiny wine region, but you can find, of course, Sangiovese from the north to the south of Umbria, and according to the records of the Umbria region, the Sangiovese grape is the most cultivated in Umbria. And this is the first paradox, that we connect. Usually we connect Umbria to Sagrantino, but there is much more Sangiovese than Sagrantino. And the second paradox is that there is a lot of Sangiovese vineyards in our fields in Umbria, but only few bottles of 100% Sangiovese. So the problem of the Sangiovese in Umbria is that the lack of identity of Sangiovese, because there are only 10 or maybe 12 producers making us Sangiovese 100%. So
why do you think, sorry Luca, why do you think only 10, 12 producers? Is there any reason? Can you see any reason behind? They want to avoid the confusion with Tuscany, maybe?
No, because I think it's connected to the big boom of the 90s of the international grapes. So many people in Umbria are making a blend of Sangiovese with international grapes for maybe using the Merlot or Cabernet for making the wine softer and smoother, or maybe for what happened in the 90s when everywhere in Umbria you could find Merlot or Cabernet Sauvignon or Cabernet Franc. So what I mean is that the people only in the last 10 years, the producers from Umbria have been investing on Sangiovese in terms of identity for making a good Sangiovese, standalone Sangiovese with a good aging potential. And this is strange because we are only 14 kilometers away from Montalcino or 50 kilometers away from Chianti Classico. So we have all the same potential of Tuscany. It's only a matter of identity and reputation, because actually in terms of terroir, we can have a very high quality Sangiovese. And we have to then we have to connect the Sangiovese to the terroir. So even in Umbria, there are very small sub-region where the Sangiovese can be a little bit different. And now I know very well, of course, my vineyards and my small piece of land. And in our vineyards, in our appellation, the Sangiovese, it's probably well recognized for the elegance and for the freshness. Why? Because we are facing the Monte Martano. It's a small mountain of 1,000 meters above the sea level. We have every day blowing fresh winds in the summer, in the spring. So this is a perfect condition for having a lot of acidity on the Sangiovese, especially when the Sangiovese is young. And so we have we have a lot of fruits and a lot of freshness, a very elegant version of Sangiovese with probably a long aging potential. So this is how can I describe the Sangiovese from the Todi appellation? Elegant and very fruity and fresh. If I have to connect.
Sorry, from what you're telling me, the one it's got more acidity, so more elegance, more longevity, and I'm guessing a bit less tannins than the Tuscan ones.
Yes, if you consider.
Oops, we lost Luca. He's coming back.
No, I'm here. And sorry, and if you consider the Sangiovese from the coastal area of Tuscany, yes, of course, there is less sun here in Umbria, and of course the temperature is very different. I think we can compare the Sangiovese from Todi to the with the Chianti, with the Sangiovese coming from Radda. Radda, it's a small village on a very high altitude, around 600 meters above the sea level in the Chianti Classico area. So if I have to compare our Sangiovese to a Sangiovese from Tuscany, I would say Montalcino north side, or Chianti Classico, the Radda vineyards with a very high altitude.
Perfect. Yeah.
And the speaking about the wine, we have this vintage is 2016, and specifically in this vintage was one of the perfect vintages. One of the I have every time I say one of that vintages that I would like to have every single year, because I can consider the 2016 the perfect vintage. We had the rain in the early spring. We have the sun, but not too much sun. So it's the perfect. When I say perfect vintage, I mean that everything was in balance in terms of weather, and all the conditions were in perfect balance. All the ingredients are sitting at the same table, and you have the same balance on the wine. Tasting the wine later, I want to check with you, Andrea, if you find all the same balance in the bottle. Just before giving you the tasting, I just want to say how I make the wine. This Sangiovese comes from old vineyards. When I say old, I mean it's the oldest vineyard that I have in our estate. It is 25 years old, so it's a small. It's a single vineyard, a kind of Sangiovese crew of old vines, 25 years old vines, and we age the wine for 2 years in big barrels of Slavonian oak. So there is a good concentration, but not too much. So the extraction of the wine is, I think, very well balanced, because we don't want to let the vineyard produce only a small quantity of wine, but we give to the vineyards the opportunity to produce a little bit more, and because we want to reduce the concentration, and we want the wine to show up very elegant and fresh. And I think the using and aging the wine in the big barrels, this is a goal that we can easily achieve, especially because it's not New York, but we have been using the same barrels for more than 15 years.
I forgot to open it.
And we have, in terms of agriculture, we have a very low impact style, low impact approach in the vineyard. So we don't use any chemical products. We try to respect the nature, the environment, and we continue with the same job in the vineyard, in the winery. And so the fermentation is spontaneous. We use only the indigenous yeast. So in general, what we do is to bring the wine to the bottle without a strong impact on the final product.
I mean, definitely on the nose is very fresh. Plenty of black fruit, plenty of cherries. I would say it's a lot more fresh than what I would consider a Tuscan Sangiovese. It's a lot more fruity. The initial impact is really fruity.
Yeah, correct.
And then eventually you start getting the spices on the back. Now it's becoming more complex. The wine is opening up and you get the spiciness on the back. Yeah.
And now, after 4 years in the bottle, it's still young. I think it could be a good experience to open up a bottle after 10 years when the wine can change a lot the profile. Of course, I'm expecting in few years less fruits, but much more complexity on the nose.
Yeah, I mean, despite it is really young, you can still taste the tannins. You can feel the tannins. However,
correct.
Such a beautiful acidity. You can actually drink in the wine now. You don't need to wait. Maybe on its own, you want to have some steak, but because of the acidity, it's a pleasure. Again, you got fantastic fruit on the palate, really fresh fruit, plenty of dark fruit, and you wouldn't say that is. Yeah, you could actually drink it.
And this is, I think, a kind of signature of all our wines. They are very drinkable, very easy to drink. I don't like to make a wine that stands on the table and nobody drink the wines. I think it's a failure for a winemaker if two people sitting at the same table, they don't finish a bottle. So even if you are approaching a very complex wine, but within the time of a dinner, you have to finish the bottle. That's the mission.
You're definitely gonna finish this one. And it's interesting because if you use the Tuscan Sangiovese, but even if you're using, if you think about Chianti Classico, you don't have the same acidity you go in here. It doesn't have that acidity. And I think this is what really makes the wine almost a joy to drink. The acidity,
correct,
elegance. And even now that is just been opened. So we probably want to open that one earlier. It's slightly cold, the wine, still it's a joy to drink. It really is.
And you know, Andrea, that the acidity is the backbone of the wine.
Yeah, but it makes the wine, gives wine elegance. Wine without acidity, it can be drunk, sorry.
Correct. It's also a sign of the energy and vitality of the wine. Beautiful. So it means that this wine has a long life in front of it.
Yeah, it's all well balanced. Again, it's all coming together nicely. Don't really see anything out of chord. It's beautiful. It really is. Tannins, acidity, fruit. It's perfect. Yeah, definitely something that someone drinking Tuscan Sangiovese don't think, even someone that loves Chianti Classico don't think is expecting any like that. I think that is kind of step above in terms of elegance. Maybe it's because of those 2 years in oak they add to the wine, but I think that I would say if I want to compare this one to a Chianti Classico Riserva, for me that got a bit more elegance. And I love wine, they got acidity, they got elegance. For me, the wine, like you said, needs to be drunk. You don't want to have one sip and then you need to move the glass away because it's too much.
Correct. And what kind of food pairing would you recommend with this wine, Andrea?
Even a salad.
Even a salad.
Even a nice salad. Steak, chicken. I think you can drink this one with everything. You don't want you don't want any tomato. You don't want any tomato base on your food. It's such a clean and flavor that I think it adds to everything. Yeah, I'm thinking nice chicken, steak. It's perfect.
Yeah, steak is the food pairing number one in my opinion. But I think it's cheese. A killer wine with cheese, yes, or with some salami, with some ham.
Because of the acidity, all that kind of fat in the salami. Yeah, the cheese. I'm thinking something like camembert, so soft cheeses, not really hard mature cheeses, where you got that cream, and that eventually gonna cleanse all of it.
Yeah, correct. And we also, it can be also a very good pairing with, for example, with a homemade pasta, with a chianina ragu, for example, something that you can find in Tuscany, but even in Umbria, with a white ragu, because I agree with you, it doesn't want tomato, but with a chianina white ragu, it's a good pairing.
Yeah, it's yeah. You want something, yeah. You want something that really fattens your palate, and then you just want to cleanse it that one.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, my first choice would be cheeses. I'm already thinking cheeses. So semi-mature cheeses, where you got dark, almost fresh cheeses. Fantastic one, really, really good. You can see that the wine is opening up now. The more, obviously, the more it says in the glass, the more the nose is opening up, and you see that the fruit that initially was there kind of was the main element, now is moving away, and you get a lot more mature fruit. Now you're moving away from the cherries. You're actually going towards the prunes.
And this is one of those bottles that you can enjoy today, but if you forgot open somewhere in the kitchen, you can drink also the day after.
Yeah. I don't think there's gonna be anything left in my kitchen, Luca, for tomorrow. That is gonna go. I got a good friend coming tonight. I'm sure we're gonna enjoy that wine. But great wine, fantastic wine, and
thank you, Andrea.
It really is. If you like elegant wine, if you like elegance, one thing I've noticed now. Last time we tried your Montefalco.
Yeah, the Sagrantino.
Sagrantino. The one thing I noticed between the two, the sort of common denominator is the acidity, the elegance in the wine. And I don't know whether that is the area or is actually your style of making wine, but for me that is great because I tried the wines and I can see across every single one the signature or the winemaker or the terroir, like the French like calling it. And I think it's, if you like elegant wine, if you like wine that you want to sip, you want to enjoy with your food or just with your friends, those are the kind of wine you want to drink. And it's a shame that not many people know Sangiovese from Umbria.
No, that's a pity. And so that's why we are discussing here to create a good reputation of the Sangiovese in general and even from Umbria, because it deserves.
Yeah, it's a great wine, Luca. Okay.
Grazie.
Thank you very much for joining me, Luca. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Andrea. My pleasure.
Let us know when you are next available. We're going to go with another one. It's always a pleasure hosting you, spending time with you. And
thank you.
Thanks again for making us great wine.
Cheers. Thank you. Ciao, 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 ciao.